I was standing barefoot on my driveway in Davenport Ridge, coffee in hand, when two HOA board members marched up, staring at the flag on my porch like it was a crime. They didn't look at me, just the flag. Big, beautiful, and waving against the bright Ohio sky. I had bought it after my dad's funeral, because he never lived to see retirement. "Mr. Halloran," one of them said, arms crossed, "your flag violates HOA policy. It's too large." The words hit me like a punch. My chest burned. Too large? For America? I laughed, but my hands trembled. That flag is 6 by 10. Before we continue, please drop a like and comment below with your country and what time it is right now where you're watching. Whether it's sunrise in Australia, midnight in New York, afternoon in Canada, or evening in France, I want to know. Don't just sit back, tell me where in the world you are. Now, let's dive into the story. Regulation size. Folded by a veteran who buried my father. You want me to take it down? Good luck. The taller one stepped closer, his voice sharp. If you don't comply, we'll fine you. Daily. Until you do. This isn't optional. My neighbor peered from his blinds, whispering into his phone. I felt the street watching. Humiliation thickened the air. My daughter peeked out the window, confused, holding her cereal spoon. I swallowed hard, my pride trembling but my spirit refusing to bend. "Gentlemen," I finally said, "I'll see you in hell before I take it down." My voice cracked, but it was steel. They glared, scribbled notes, and left. The flag kept waving. Thrown. Untouched. But inside, I already knew this was war. 2 months earlier, I moved my family here, thinking it was safe, quiet, perfect. A cul-de-sac with trimmed lawns, garages polished like trophies, and neighbors who smiled too quickly. My wife, Erin, had begged for a better environment for our kids. Our son Cole was 12, our daughter Maggie 9. I gave in, even though the HOA rules felt suffocating. No pickup trucks in driveways. No Christmas lights past January 5th. No basketball hoops left overnight. They wrote these like scripture. Erin brushed it off. "It's worth it for the safety, Josh." But the flag was never supposed to be an issue. I mounted it carefully on the porch beam, high and proud. My father's memory deserved more than a token garden flag. I should have known. At the first HOA meeting, I felt their stares. The board president, a sharp-eyed man named Gerald, kept glancing at me like I didn't belong. When I introduced myself, Gerald smirked. "We like uniformity here." His eyes flicked to the American flag pin on my jacket. I brushed it off as small-town arrogance. Weeks later, complaints started appearing in my mailbox. Grass 2 inches too long. Trash cans left out 30 minutes past pickup. Petty things. But I knew. They had circled me. Still, I didn't back down. I mowed, trimmed, complied. But that flag? That was my line in the sand. And I realized, with a chill, they were coming for it. The first fine arrived 2 days later. $50. Then another. Each envelope stamped with bold red letters, and in compliance. My stomach twisted every time I opened the mailbox. Erin begged me to cave. "Josh, please, it's just a flag. We can hang a smaller one." But she didn't understand, this wasn't fabric. This was legacy, sacrifice, my father's honor. Cole overheard us fighting. "Dad, are we gonna get kicked out?" His voice cracked. I hugged him tight. "Not if I can help it, buddy. Sometimes standing tall costs something." The HOA kept circling. One night, I caught Gerald standing near my mailbox, flashlight in hand, jotting notes. He saw me and smirked like a man daring me to swing. By the end of the week, we owed $400. Letters threatened liens against the house. Erin cried quietly at night. I stared at the ceiling, wondering if I'd ruined us. Neighbors whispered. Some waved, others avoided us. One, Mrs. Pennington, whispered as I passed, "He's making trouble. Just take it down." My fists clenched, but I kept walking. Still, I promised myself, I wouldn't be the man who folded. Not this time. Not when my father's folded flag already lay in a triangle box on my shelf. So I sharpened my plan. If they wanted a fight, I'd give them one. But on my terms. I spent nights digging through HOA bylaws. Each page thick with legal nonsense, but finally I found it, federal law. The Freedom to Display the American Flag Act, 2005. It was clear, no HOA could stop me from flying the U.S. flag on my property. They could restrict reasonable placement, but size? That was a gray area. My loophole. I printed copies, highlighted passages, and taped one to my front door. The next morning, Gerald stormed over, red-faced. You think you're smart? This doesn't exempt you from our rules. Oh, but it does, I said, calm but burning. Federal law beats your petty regulations. You can't bully me, Gerald. Not this time. He ripped the paper down, trembling. The kids watched from the window, wide-eyed. Erin clutched her robe, terrified. But for the first time in weeks, I felt alive, like maybe I wasn't crazy for standing my ground. That night, I bought 2 more flags. One for the garage. One for the backyard. Each bigger than the last. Neighbors gasped the next morning. Gerald nearly collapsed. The fines doubled. Threats grew harsher. But something shifted. An old veteran across the street saluted me. A young couple whispered, "Good for you." Cracks appeared in the HOA's power. And I realized I wasn't just fighting for me anymore. I was fighting for everyone too afraid to stand tall. It was nearly midnight when I heard it, 3 hard knocks on the door. I grabbed a bat, heart racing. Erin whispered, "Don't," but I opened it anyway. Gerald stood there, flanked by 2 board members. Their suits looked ridiculous under the porch light. He didn't ask, he demanded. "Take down the flag or we'll sue." I stepped outside, barefoot, bat resting on my shoulder. "Then sue me. But you'll lose. And I'll make sure every neighbor knows what cowards you are." My voice carried into the street. Curtains shifted. Porch lights flicked on. Neighbors peeked out. Gerald's face twisted with rage. He hadn't expected witnesses. One board member tugged his arm, whispering, "Let's go." But before leaving, Gerald leaned in, hissing, "You'll regret this. Families break. Houses sell cheap. Think about your wife, your kids." His words felt like poison in my ears. After they left, Erin broke down. "Josh, you're dragging us into war. What if he's right? What if they ruin us?" I held her close, but my resolve only grew. That night, sleep wouldn't come. I kept seeing my father in uniform, folding the very flag that now waved outside. I couldn't let them disgrace it. Not now. Not ever. And deep down I knew the fight was only beginning. The next morning, I called a lawyer. Not just any lawyer, Harold Dunn, a retired Marine who specialized in veterans' rights. His voice was gravel, his words direct. "You're in the right." He explained how HOAs bank on fear. Most families fold, pay fines, comply. But federal law gave me leverage. If they push, we push back. Loudly. Publicly. So we filed an injunction. The court date was set. I mailed notices to every neighbor, inviting them to watch the board defend why they thought Old Glory was too big. The street buzzed. Some avoided me, others offered quiet thumbs up. Mrs. Pennington crossed the street just to whisper, "You might actually win." For the first time, I felt hope spreading. Gerald's retaliation was immediate. He had my trash bins confiscated, accused me of illegal lawn ornaments. Petty harassment. But each move only made him look desperate. Erin saw it too. She still feared the outcome, but one night she whispered, "Your dad would be proud." That sentence carried me like fuel through every sleepless night. Cole started drawing flags in his school notebooks. Maggie told her friends her daddy was fighting the neighborhood. My family, despite the fear, was slowly standing taller. And so was I. The courthouse smelled of dust and nerves. Gerald strutted in with a slick lawyer, armed with binders. I wore my only suit, hands sweating, but Harold sat calm, unshaken. The judge eyed us coldly. Gerald's lawyer argued uniformity and property values, claiming my flag was distracting. He spoke like patriotism was a crime. Neighbors in the gallery whispered, uneasy. Then Harold rose. His voice cut like a drill sergeant. "Your Honor, the law is plain. The Freedom to Display the American Flag Act guarantees my client's right. The HOA is overreaching. He placed the folded flag from my father's funeral on the table. The room went silent. This isn't about cloth. This is about respect. This family honors service. That board mocks it. My throat burned. Aaron squeezed my hand. The judge leaned forward, eyes sharp. Mr. Halloran, is this flag of particular personal significance? I stood, voice breaking. It's my father's. It's America's. Silence filled the room. Then the judge spoke. HOA fines are suspended. This case will move to trial if necessary, but at this point, the board appears in violation of federal law. Gerald's face turned pale. The gallery erupted in murmurs. I felt my knees weaken, but this time, from relief. We weren't finished. But the cracks had widened. Defeated in court, Gerald turned to character assassination. Flyers appeared in mailboxes. Josh Halloran, troublemaker. Costing you money. Lowering your property values. My face was plastered like a wanted poster. The first I left. But when Cole came home crying, classmates saying their parents called me crazy, my chest shattered. Aaron ripped the flyer, furious. He's dragging the kids into this. I felt rage boiling. But Harold warned me, stay steady. That's what they want, you to crack. Keep your flag high. Let them expose themselves. His calmness was my anchor. Neighbors divided. Some stood taller beside me, others shunned us, turning their backs when we passed. The street had become a battlefield of whispers and stares. But one night I saw something, small flags sprouting in yards. First one. Then 3. Then a dozen. Quiet defiance. Not everyone agreed with Gerald's crusade. Hope glimmered again. When Gerald saw it, he nearly lost it, marching house to house, tearing flags down. Someone filmed it. The video spread. HOA President attacks American flags. Suddenly, it wasn't my fight alone. The media called. Reporters wanted interviews. My phone buzzed nonstop. I wasn't invisible anymore. I was a story. And Gerald had become the villain. The tide was turning. Pressure crushed Gerald. He screamed at board meetings, slammed fists, threatened resignations. The video had ruined him. Local veterans groups picketed the neighborhood, waving flags, chanting my name. Police were called. Cameras flashed. Our quiet cul-de-sac became a circus. Erin hated the chaos, but I reminded her, this is bigger than us now. We can't step back. One night, Gerald snapped. He stormed onto my lawn, ripped the flagpole from its base, and threw it across the driveway. I stood frozen, kids screaming inside. I dialed 911. The police arrived fast, cuffed him in front of the neighborhood. The image of their president dragged into a cruiser ended whatever power the HOA still clung to. But I didn't cheer. Watching him slump, defeated, I realized he wasn't just a bully. He was a man eaten alive by control, fear, and maybe his own failures. Still, I lifted the fallen flag, dusted it off, and raised it again. Neighbors clapped. Some cried. And for the first time, I felt something deeper than victory. I felt peace. Decades have passed since then. I'm 45 now, kids grown, house long sold. But I remember Davenport Ridge like a scar you don't forget. The HOA dissolved after Gerald's arrest. New families moved in, freer, lighter. My fight had cracked something bigger, the idea that one man's control could outweigh freedom. Cole joined the Navy. Maggie teaches history. They tell me my stubbornness shaped them. Erin, though weary back then, now says quietly, I'm glad you never backed down. The flag from that house hangs in my garage today. Faded, edges frayed, but still proud. Every time I see it, I hear my father's voice, stand tall, son. And I realize that fight wasn't just about cloth, or an HOA, or even my dad. It was about dignity. About not folding when folding felt easier. So when people ask if I'd do it again, I don't hesitate. I smile, stare at that flag, and whisper, damn right I would. Looking back, my fight wasn't just about one flag, it was about standing tall against HOA harassment over American flags, refusing to give in to a Karen HOA president abuse of power, and showing my kids how HOA horror stories in America can turn into victories when neighbors unite. It reminded me that HOA versus freedom of speech battles, homeowner rights against HOA bullies, and even HOA fines for patriotic displays aren't just headlines, they're lived struggles, and sometimes the only way to win. Against HOA harassment stories gone viral, neighborhood HOA corruption exposed, and HOA fights with veterans over flags is to keep waving what you believe in, no matter the cost.